Welcome to our podcast, The Saints Eye View. With the 2-0 win against Connasquay Nomads, sending the new Saints back to the top of the JD Welsh Premier League, we hear from Chairman Mike Harris in the latest part of our regular series.
Well, Chairman Mike Harris, we're in your inner sanctum now. Not many people get to be in this privileged place. We're here today and we're talking about the new Saints Football Club. A great win on Saturday just gone against Connasquay Nomads.
Oh, excellent win. And I think that realistically, the doubters from this season, people talking about blips, as I said on my previous interviews, whether it was on the first one or the second one, is that judge it over a season. Nothing's won yet, so there's no. But ultimately, Connasquay have emerged as one of the runners to give us a go this season. But when you really look at the relying on their tactics, which I'll be honest with you, as a club we would never have done. And I don't think the clubs like Barry would have done. I think that leaving the grass long, having it not pitted and obviously training or whatever had happened on it before, yes, that might win you some points from time to time, but if that's going to be your underlying reliance to knock a champion off, then to be honest with you, that isn't the sort of champion I'd want to be. And I've got to say that previously other champions that have been there, and we've dealt with people like Barry Town. I don't think that they would be that type of tactician either. Now, good luck to them, but that's the way they are. But when you do deploy those type of tactics, you have to win, because if you don't win, that means that you've got to really wrap it all up and start again. Either new players, bigger and stronger ones to do the same thing, or you've got to try and evolve the way that you play. Now, whether they will evolve with those players or not, I don't know. But that's perhaps why they came in to try and sign so many of mine. But you can tell that the nucleus of our team would not be happy playing on that style of football week in, week out. It's not their thing. But we dealt with it. I think Scott and Evo were tacticians, were outwitted the other side, and I think that the public got a good display that TNS were more than capable of dealing with a team that really wanted to play direct football. And again, hopefully I'm not being too critical. Got a lot of respect for Craig and Andy, but I think that obviously Andy's got a particular style of football, which is obviously been very effective and has merged to be very, very competitive this season. I would imagine it must frustrate Craig, because Craig again is a big ambassador of playing the game of football.
Mike, you are a successful businessman. That's where we are today, at the hub of your business network. Also the club as well. You want the club to be successful. That game on Saturday, it was a massive one for both sides. TNS are now in the driving seat, but it's still very close. Some people are saying that the title race is over, but in many ways it's just beginning, Mike.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, as I said to Scott, don't take that as being the end of the season. There's nothing won yet. No result is ever as good or as bad as it first looks. I mean, even if we'd have lost on Saturday, it was still all completely within our own hands. I mean, again, I think rightly so. The professionalism and the skill of the players that we have shone through. Some excellent goals, some excellent play. The tactics that we did to nullify the sort of long ball, big strong tactics was perfect. But ultimately, there's now equally emerging challenges. I think that Newtown may have got a sniff of of finishing in those top places. I think Bala obviously want to be in those top places, and at the moment perhaps they're not picking up the points, but they're still an extremely good team. And nothing can be taken away from Carnarvon, because when we've played Carnarvon, they've been very, very, very a very, very good team this season. So I do see still some more twists and turns. The competition isn't over by a long way. I think that we've put ourselves in a strong position, but no, we'll definitely not be resting on our laurels.
It's certainly been a very interesting season, and we talked about that blip, Mike, way back in the autumn now. 5 points from 5 games. That was a test of character, not just for yourself and those that run the team off the pitch, but more closer to it, the players themselves, Scott Ruscoe, Steve Evans, but everyone came through that difficult period, came through stronger, and that's the mark of a good team.
Well, myself and the board had great faith in Scott. We wouldn't have placed him in the position of being manager of the team, along with Evo. Great men for the football club. They were in training for a number of years under the guise of Craig and Darlow, and ultimately, as they've come forward, they've emerged with their own ideas. They brought in their own players, and I think that we rightly called it. But we brought in 1 or 2 new faces last season, young guys who were looking to push the older guys for their shirt, and it's taken a little while for all of those to bed in. But as you can see now, we've got 22 players who are absolutely a unit as a team, and Scott has difficulties now who he will pick, because the ones who came through have come up to speed. The guys who've given us long service are there, and it's exactly what he wanted. He wanted competition for places. He wanted players who could easily interchange, and players that can go on to the next stage of our club's journey. And I think he's done an excellent job there. I said the job work isn't done yet. We've got to obviously get to the end of the season, but it's very easy for critics to cast, oh, this is doom and gloom. But the club has never at one point during the season, even where we had less points per game, not have a rational reason why they were there. And I won't blame anybody outside. We did have perhaps not the rub of the green, but that's football. You've got to take that into your season. You are going to have periods of time where things go against you, whether it's decisions on the pitch, whether it's sending offs, whether it's injuries, whether it's players who are out of form. All those things all go into the mix, and the manager can only use the resources he's got at his disposal. And I think that it's a great credit to Scott and Evo that they've used the resources within the club excellently. And again, the resources that we commit, they're good resources, but it isn't win at all financial expense. I know that there's several clubs in the league spending virtually the same as us, if not more than us, to get to where they do in the league. I won't name names, but I've made it very, very clear what our wage bill is. Our books are published in Companies House. People can see what our wage bill is. But our wage bill isn't just for the first team. Our wage bill delivers an excellent academy programme, in the community programme, working with different stakeholders within football, within our local area, and the greater game. So all round, there's a job being done on all fronts, where perhaps other clubs will prioritise all their spend to the first team. We want to produce what I could call a sustainable journey, and a sustainable football club, and a football club that would be looking to continue to build on its success. Whether we win the league or not, the football club's here for a very long time. and that is been an important factor in the decision to build a football club that plays in Wales. A club that started in Llansilfraid village, merged with Oswestry town. It has, I believe, off the pitch, pushed every corner of ways to bring in sponsorship, to bring in the funding that's required to put a decent team out there, but also bringing the motivation to keep that team constantly being refreshed, constantly being motivated, and also constantly being enhanced. Hence why, as we go through the cycles of renewal, we have a policy of recruiting younger players who are either going to develop into players that will play for us for a very long time, or could leave the club, hopefully to be sold to a club that may get their checkbooks out. And I'm not going to say a higher level club, because I made it very clear that I don't regard Division 2 and the conference as betterment for our players. In League 2, there may be some bigger salaries washing around, but I think that players, if they want to really achieve the heights of their career, these are in things like the Champions League, they're in the Europa League. And I fully recognise the English Premier League has money beyond the wildest dreams. And again, those type of clubs, if they come knocking, a player should be aspiring to take those monies away. But ultimately, I believe the Welsh pyramid system is growing. I think that the Premier League itself within Wales now is establishing itself as a place to be. And the media that our league gets covered, from what I call the emerging media, such as Twitter, such as Facebook, is outstripping any League 2 club. I use social media quite extensively, and I see a lot from the English Premier League. Not so much from the Championship, and nothing at all really from League 2 and below. So you can see the professional clips. Scorio do a great job. For the league with the coverage that they make. That coverage gets promoted within those social medias. It would be lovely if it was being transmitted out on a national TV, free to air, or on the Premier channels of Sky, but we are where we are. Scorio do a great job, the production's great, but by having that professional coverage, those clips that are put onto then the social media are far more professional and far more comprehensive than what you're getting from those lower English leagues. So again, I think the wheel is turning. I think it's now a time for the fans of the clubs, our rival clubs in the Welsh Premier, not just carry on knocking the leagues this, the leagues that. They should be starting to think that the league is a Premier League. Yes, albeit not with the funds and resources of the English Premier League, but it does have the roots to the Premier roots within football, which is the Champions League, the Europa League, and the soon-to-be the Europa League 2, which again are going to be much better places to play football than on some wet, boggy pitch in the conference. And I think that players are slowly but surely making that choice, preferably from the younger generations. We've seen the young lad come through from Swansea City, Ben Cabango, great player, and he's destined for a great career, and he's taken good memories with him from the club. And he's also going, that's a good standard of football. The young lad now we've got from Cardiff doing an excellent job for us. But again, coming through to the Welsh Premier, choosing Welsh Premier rather than lower league English football for where they want to go on their loans. And I think it's time now for the public who directly watch our game to be proud of the products that we're producing, the teams that are producing. And instead of perhaps if you're halfway up the table going, well, we can't get there, they should be proud that this is a league that they're competing in. And that will help to bring and attract more quality players and help them make the choice between going to a different location just because the perception. And again, this is going to be a long journey. This isn't a journey that we can fix in one season. This is generational. And I think with further support from the FAW, with forward thinking at the FAW, which it's come on a long way from the dark days when I first got involved with in football, where it was probably more likely to discuss what was on the menu for lunch than the issues that confronted the domestic game within our country. Today, everybody has moved forward. Clubs have moved forward. The administration within the FAW has moved forward, and they've realised that our nation can produce a pyramid, but we can be proud of for a small nation.
Chairman Mike Harris, thank you again for your insight into the Welsh domestic football game, and we look forward to more as we continue our series of The Thoughts of Chairman Mike.
Thank you very much.
Fresh from captaining England colleges on their recent trip to Italy, we caught with Harry Bowyer on his return to Park Hall.
Harry, we've done quite a number of interviews in the last couple of years or so. Can you remember the very first one?
Yeah, against Flint, made my senior debut in the JD Welsh Cup.
Yeah, I remember you coming on. I was in the press box, looked down, I saw you standing there, and I thought to myself, that's the player interview sorted after the game. And then, of course, not just with the New Saints, but also playing for England as well, for the colleges. 12 months ago, we did an interview because you were off to Italy, and here we are, a year later, you've just come back from Italy.
Yeah, it was a hell of an experience last year round, but I've got to say that this year it was amazing. Credit to all the staff, they made it brilliant, and the players this year, they were superb. Obviously I vice-captained the tournament, but the captain was injured for the final game, and I stepped in and led the boys out for the final game, which was a real nice touch.
That must have been a fantastic honour indeed.
Yeah, it was honestly huge for me.
Well, I've seen you wearing your England colours because I've been to games at St George's Park that you've played in. But tell us about the tournament in Italy. Who did you compete against?
The first game was against Malta national team. That was quite an easy test, to be fair. We beat them 3-0. We played really well as a team. The second one was against Kosovo. They were a big side, and we couldn't break them down very, very well. We managed to lose that one 2-0, and then the final game in the group was against Lazio, which I captained. We lost 3-1 in that one.
Well, you lost 3-1 because not only did you captain the side, but you also scored as well.
Yes, the goal was funny. We did a great free kick, and it hit the post, and I just ran in and hit me on the chest, and we scored. But you know, we count them, don't we?
Unfortunately, as far as age is concerned, this is the end of your career now with the England schools. So unless, or the England colleges, unless Gareth Southgate gives you a call, then that's over. But you do have a couple of games to go.
Yeah, that's it now. But we've got Wales in 4 weeks' time, and we've got Nottingham Forest in a couple of months in. But we played against them last year. We got a good draw against Nottingham Forest last year, and we comfortably beat Wales. But hoping to get the same sort of results, hopefully beat Forest as well, but we'll see what happens.
And how do you feel that the games with England have helped your own career as a footballer?
Yeah, I feel like they've helped massively. It's completely different to any sort of football that I've ever played. There's a lot of pressures. Just walking out when you have to sing the national anthem every time is the pressure itself. But it's an honour, and I think I've learned so much from doing it every time I've put the shirt on.
As we can see from your tracksuit top there, you're a TNS player, but you're actually on loan at the moment with FC Oswestry Town. How's that going?
Yeah, it's superb. Had a bit of a at the start of the season, but since then it's been brilliant. I've enjoyed myself every game I've played for them. I've got myself a fair share of assists and goals, and yeah, I've really enjoyed it.
Because you're playing what we call men's football, you're playing against players that are much more experienced and a lot older. Again, do you think that has helped your game?
Yeah, massively. You've got to learn how to play against men, and I seriously think it has helped. I've just learned how to play against them, and because I'm obviously quite a small player, I've learned physically how to beat them and not always take them on and pass around them at just different areas of my game.
And finally, as we know, the world of football is very competitive, and the older you get, the more intense it becomes. So what does the future hold for you personally?
I'm hoping to get a contract at TNS. We just have to wait and see.
Well, that sounds good. Harry, thank you for your time today, and especially sharing with us the insights into what is a great honour for any footballer at any level representing their country.
Thank you.
The games come thick and fast at this stage of the season, and with Bala Town the opposition on Friday, it was time for another press conference. Here are the thoughts of Scott Ruscoe ahead of the game with the Lakesiders. Scott, a weekend without a game for the New Saints last weekend. Someone's dropped back into second in the JD Welsh Premier League, but nevertheless still a fantastic position to be in. Just 2 points off the top with 2 games in hand.
Yeah, that's right. It's one where it's obviously in our own hands. We would have preferred to play obviously at the weekend because we had a great victory against Connah's Quay, and you'd like to then go on and get another one, but it wasn't to be. Boys had a bit of a rest over the weekend, and we're back to it now to concentrate on Bala on Friday evening.
Yeah, the first of those games in hand is in fact against Bala this week. The Lakesiders have won just once in the league since Boxing Day, coming last week 2-0 at Barry Town. They appear to be getting slightly back on track, but it's going to be a very tricky game to navigate.
Yeah, you look at the games we've had against them this season. We've drawn both games, and I think the first game, I think they set their stall out well and sort of stifled us a little bit with their game plan, and we just couldn't break them down. The second game, I still feel with 10 men we should have won the game. We did more than enough in the first 30 minutes to suggest that we were on top. Obviously sending off to change games, and you're always up against it when you're against 11 players and you've only got 10, but I thought you're more than capable of still beating the side even with 10 men.
It's been a superb run of form for TNS in recent months in fact, unbeaten since November and 10 wins from the last 11 games. Also been no league goals conceded in open play since, perhaps ironically, we played Bala in December. What would you put that superb run of form down to?
I think a change in mentality, a change in work ethic, a change in the way maybe the staff did things. We spoke about it. We had a little meeting. We didn't go on about it too much, but told the boys, look, you need to get on a run here of 10, 11 games. We need to be winning. You can only afford to get the odd draw because we were, I think at the time, probably 4 or 5 points behind the other two, and it was a difficult situation, but I think we got together. You can see the squad has grown. Momentum has been with us, like you say, and to concede only, I think 14 goals is it? 14 goals is an excellent return, and the amount of goals we've been scoring too is averaging nearly 3 point something, four goals a game, which is excellent. So with those stats, they marry up, don't they? If you keep scoring lots and making sure that your defence is mean, you're heading in the right direction.
It must be a real selection headache for yourself, with so many players on form, so many working hard in training who perhaps are missing out on the squad just through no fault of their own.
No, and if you look at players who have missed out recently, and it's very difficult. On one hand, you've got a full squad together, and it's great, but then you feel for a bit for the players that are training really hard, players that can step in and do a job for us, and just can't give them that game time because you're going with a different formation, a different shape, a different player for that game. If you look at the last game against Connah's Quay, playing without that recognised number 9, whether they were going to play in the 9 or the 10, is just something we thought would help us, and it did in the end. And I always say to players, if I leave you out and we win, it's about the team, not about the individual, which is everything to the football club.
Back to Friday's game now. We all know the style of play that Connah's Quay utilised. We saw what you did to counter that in the last game, but is there anything differently you have to do in training to prepare for an opponent like Bala, or is it just a case of concentrate on our own game and take it from there?
Yeah, you do. You always analyse your opposition. We always get the analysis, the footage on a Monday or a Tuesday to plan for the Friday. Every single team is no different. Whether you're at the bottom of the league, whether you're second, you're top, everything's taken into consideration. The only thing that would be different is the amount of footage that we would show the players and discuss with the players. If we feel that we're at home, we play our game, but we need to concentrate on 2 or 3 of their opponents, which we will do. Henry Jones, Venables, two excellent players that can get goals. Thames, 17 goals, I think he's got 16, 17 goals. There's 3. So we need to be aware that we need to stop crosses. We need to be aware of second balls from corners and free kicks, because Venables likes to peel around the back. All these things we'll take into consideration. Still a good side, lots of very difficult opponents in their team, and we need to be wary of them.
Then finally, Scott, as always, how are things looking availability-wise?
Yeah, availability, we've give a couple of players a rest over the last week or so, so we'll be looking at getting them into training on Thursday, but they'll continue their rest period at the moment, and hopefully we should have everybody available on Friday.
Thank you for watching our podcast. We hope you've enjoyed what you've seen. Don't forget, keep an eye on our website, www.tnsfc.co.uk, for more news, views and reaction from Park Hall.